Hi folks, I'm Matt, and what does it really mean, Bauer's game Cornar? Alright folks, today we're going to go over Castle Panic. This is another co-op tower defense game where it's you versus all of these bad guy chips here. And what you're doing, you and your friends are doing, is you're trying to protect the towers here. You have walls, but walls can break down. If you lose all of your towers though in this game, you all lose. You have to survive this whole horde of baddies. Now just like in Pandemic, you see the order of play is very simple. It's drawn up on each side of the board there. If you can't see it from there, they even give you cards that give you the order of play. This is a very simple game to play here. But how it starts is you'll start off with 3 goblins, 2 orcs, and 1 troll. And you will place them all around the board here. Now how do you do that? Well, you see these numbers here? I have a die. And as I roll the die, that's going to tell me where to put these. So a 6. So I would put my orc on the 6. And then I'd roll again and it would say 4. So maybe I put a goblin on a 4 and whatnot. And then eventually you're just going to throw them out. You actually wouldn't put them on the number. You just put them in that area where they're at. And there you go. So let's say that's the start of the play. You'd have them moving in. So what would you do? Well, you would do exactly what the order of play says. First off, it said you would draw up. Now, depending on the number of players would be how many cards you'd have in your hand. So if it's 2 players, you'd have 6 cards. 3 to 5 players, you'd have 5 cards. If it's 6 players, you're going to have 4 cards in your hand, obviously, because there's more people. Now, what kind of cards would you have? Well, first off, before I start off, look at this. Look at them all. They're all on the forest level right now. Eventually, the cards you're going to get are archers, knights, and swordsmen, and a few others, but archers, knights, and swordsmen especially. So as you see, as the game moves on, you would draw up to that many, discard a card, and draw another one. It's optional. You don't have to do that. You could trade cards with someone, and I'll tell you why that may be important. And then you play your cards to slay the baddies. And then you would move the monsters up 1 after all that. They would each move up 1. So wherever they were at in whatever range, they go down there. So of course you're going to have a lot of an archery range. You cannot fight a monster who's still in the forest. That's very important. Now, you need different cards to fight those monsters. So for instance, here it is. One of the cards will be the archer. It counts as 1 hit, but only, as you see, for blue. As you see, this is divided into 3 colors. So you have green, red, and blue. So let's say my troll is now in archer territory with the blue. Well, then my archer, I play this card, and it gives him a hit. Now, as you see, this troll has 3 hits. So that would only be 1 hit, so I turn him this way to indicate there's 2 more hits remaining on him. If you didn't already see before earlier, orcs can take 2 hits, and goblins are very easy to kill. They're 1 hit. Now, it depends. There are some kings and healers and what special guys in here. You may get something like a boulder. A boulder is bad. Well, bad and good. Good because it smashes any other monsters that get in its way. But bad because it's going to break down your wall. It's going to break down right through your towers and through the other wall and out to the other forest. They go straight through. There's no stopping a boulder. So yes, you're going to lose some towers in this game. You're going to lose some walls, and I'll tell you how you can rebuild walls in a minute. But boulders are bad. There's going to be 2 in the deck, the little villain deck here. There's also going to be other cards you may draw, like this one says, draw 3 more tokens. So here where it says draw 2 monsters at the end of the last move, if you draw this one, well, you got to draw 3 more, so monsters could be coming big. You also could have a monster move counterclockwise. Monsters can move clockwise or counterclockwise, and if that's the case, you'd have to move them all. Maybe they still be in red, but maybe this one would go from green to red. Maybe I had a green knight card that I could play because he's in the knight realm. But if I had to shift everyone over counterclockwise, then that would make him in the red. So then my green knight would be no good to defeat him or put 1 hit on him. So that's kind of how that works. Also, there could be a plague. You could lose all your swordsmen, it would say, or whatnot. And of course, swordsmen are on the inner ring. Here's an example of what a swordsman looks like. Of course, this is only for red. But if that plague came up, I would have to discard my swordsman, which could suck if the monsters are getting closer. Now, as they get closer to the board, once they get to the swordsman area and you haven't killed them, on the next turn, when you have to move your monsters, they will break through the wall and you take that wall away. Now, what happens after that? Do they attack the tower? No. they just start going around in circles, taking out your walls. Now, if all the walls are done, then they move in again and start taking out all your towers. And you really want to fight them. But the bad news is that the swordsman, the knight, and the archer cannot fight any monsters that are inside of the gates. There's only one card that can do that, and I'll get to that in just a moment. But other things you may see cards that say, hey, any swordsman, any color swordsman. That means for any color, whether it be red, blue, or green, you can use this card in that swordsman area. And they have this for knights and archers too. You also have heroes who can hit off anyone. Of course, this is a red hero, so only in the red area, meaning archer, knight, and swordsman, he can take one, or he can, hit one monster with it. You could have an any color hero too. That would be nice, but these cards are really super duper nice as well. Now, there's some other cards that they give you in this deck that can really help you out when you're trying to defend your temple. One would be brick and mortar cards. Now, you have to have both of these in order to rebuild one of your destroyed walls, and you can rebuild that wall. This is where trading, I think, would come in handy, or it has with us in the past, where you may have brick, they may have mortar, someone needs a trade, so that person can help build a wall and help defend these towers, because the walls will crumble. Other cards they give you are things like fortify the wall. That stops a monster for one turn. What is that? Well, they're these little fortification tokens. And you just slip them right there on the wall. So on the inside of the wall, you would see the little fortification. And when a monster came up against it, it would bang up against it and remove the barricade, but it would not destroy the wall. So it basically stalls the monster for one turn, which is really nice. Now, other cards that you have something like missing. And as you see here, it says don't draw any monster tokens this turn. So if you're maybe already flooded with monsters coming at you from all angles here, you may be like, no way, man, I can't take any more hits. So let's just throw a missing card and skip that altogether. You also have one thing called nice shot. You can slay a monster instantly with any hit card. So let's say that I really wanted to slay this troll that's way out there in blue archer land. So if I was going to play my blue archer, he would only be one hit, but I play him with nice shot, and he has automatically killed that troll no matter how many hits left are on him. So that's really cool. Other cool cards, drop to 2 cards. That's really nice. If you can exceed your hand limit for that turn by drawing this card, it may be some important cards you may need. We play that card quite often. Scavenge is one of the best cards, though. You can search the discard pile and draw one card of your choice and add it to your hand. So Scavenge is always fun. Now, what happens when you run out of cards? Don't worry, folks. You just pick up the discard pile and reshuffle it back in. Because remember, you're playing until you destroy all of those monsters. Other cards that you can play with, let me give them here to you. First one, these 3 cards I'm about to show you all carry the black castle icon. That means that they can be played anywhere, even inside the walls, which is usually where you want to play these cards. These are very good cards. There's only one of each in the deck. And of course, if it goes to the discard pile, you'll probably get to redraw it again. But anyway, this one's drive him back. You can move any monster into the forest and keeping them in the same numbered arc, meaning keeping them in red, blue, green, wherever they came from. So if you had a monster just tearing things up here and you just couldn't get rid of him because you don't have anything to stop him, you can drive him back with this card. Another thing you can do is place a tar token on the monster and stall him for one turn. This is the tar token. You would just place it on the monster and he can't move for that one turn. So the next turn where it says move monsters, he doesn't move. Now you would remove the tar token after that, and the next turn he would move again. But that's another way to delay him. Again, you can play it inside the castle walls or outside, doesn't matter. And the last one you can play anywhere is the Barbarian. He slays any monster anywhere, including inside the castle ring, which is usually where you're going to need him, because he's the only one who can slay that monster inside the ring. And there's only one Barbarian in the deck. Of course, again, that gets reshuffled. If you lose all your towers, everyone loses the game, of course. Now, another way that they said to play this game is, after you win, if you want to decide who a winner is, you can count up all your points. Like the orcs would be counting for 2, goblins would be 1, trolls would be 3, and so on and so forth. And whoever has the most points wins the game. But that is Castle Panic. All right, so Castle Panic. First off, side note, I had this game for over a year now, and in the past couple of months just got around to playing it to do this review. The reason it's on the shelf because it just didn't look that interesting, and when I finally pulled it down, I proved to be right. Don't get me wrong, the game is kind of fun, but it's basically for kids. It's very, very simple, and you win just about every time. We did lose once, but you win pretty easy. I guess not so easy, but you can win pretty easy, especially if you're playing, 6 players, because you're going to have all the cards you need to defeat those monsters. So maybe I'm missing a rule that makes it harder. I know there's an expansion to it that probably makes it a little bit harder too, but to be honest, if you have kids, this may be something for you. Again, very easy to teach. Maybe you have people who like playing simple games, and this would be something different. Personally, I think Pandemic is a better co-op game. But this one, like I said, my little nephews, they love playing that game, okay? They always are up for some Castle Panic, probably more than Pandemic. And when you think about it, yeah, slaying orcs, goblins, and trolls is a lot cooler than removing cubes from a board. Even though they'll play Pandemic with me if I want to, but mainly for them, Castle Panic is what they like to play. Now for adults, I don't know, I've never brought it up at a board game night because it seems kind of silly, stupid, and doesn't seem like it'd be so much fun for adults. So if you have kids who want to play a co-op game, go for it. There doesn't seem to be that much strategy though with the game, because it's like, you're going to discard the cards and you're going to get them back when you reshuffle the deck, so it doesn't seem that much of a panic, because if you just threw away the swordsman, someone else may get it, especially if you're playing with a lot of players. Now if you're playing for 2 players, maybe it'll be a little harder, I don't know. But it seems like we can just burn through that deck real quick. We can always get the Barbarian to save our skin before they destroy all of the castles, and so there wasn't really that big of a threat. That you're always going to win. You're always going to win. And the last end of the game where you tally up to see who won overall, we don't even do that. There's really not a point. So that's my review on Castle Panic. Until next time, gamers, game on.